reviews and concert reviews. Get it all on bkpresent.com.
Yo, what's going on? It's the world famous DJ B Mello. You are tuned in to Rainier Avenue Radio. Let's go. Make sure you go help DJ Nasty Ness pay for his hospital bills by going to his GoFundMe. It's Support Nasty Ness Rodriguez's Road to Recovery. GoFundMe.com.
Hello, listener. It's important to you about what's going on in your community. Are you interested? Are you concerned? In any case, I invite you to tune into my show, Seattle Here and Now, on Rainier Avenue Radio.org. Why? I will be covering a wide range of topics important to you and impacting the community. Each show will have a special guest or guest to share with you information on a variety of topics that are happening here and now in Seattle. I promise I will work hard to make my show informative, interesting, and entertaining. Be sure to listen to Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases.
Seattle Home Show.
Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects. For more information, visit kingcounty.gov.
I'm Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not hearing men compare women to residential real estate, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to another episode of Real Estate and Money. My name is Tina Lombard, and I am with Texana Bank. Hello, Violeta.
And hi, I'm Violeta Strash with Coldwell Banker Danforth.
That's great. It's good to see everyone. Yeah, thanks for joining us today. So we've got still winter in the background, right, V?
What? Do you see me?
Yes, I do see. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's okay. We see you. So
okay.
Yeah. So we're talking about very beautiful as always. So we're talking about it's now in the middle of the beginning of February. So we're going to be talking about taxes and what you need for taxes and how you can put that together so that you can file the most accurate, most adequate tax return. So V, what do you have for us today? Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. Taxes are what you have to gather.
Yes.
And, all that, can I start first with what I did this weekend and what's coming up for Seattle?
Yes, let's talk about it.
I was at the Tacoma Home Show at the Tacoma Dome. And that's something that, it's the beginning of the year. People are starting to think, what am I doing this year with my house?
Right.
I'm going to do something. Am I going to move? We hope you're going to move and buy a new house with us.
Yes.
But, there's so many ideas out there and people wanting to maybe fix up some areas of their home before they sell the house. And, talk to us, talk to Tina or myself, and we'll tell you, don't go overboard. You don't need to fix up everything. But if there's something, there's so many ideas at the home show, from indoor decorative items, shelving, flooring and countertops, hard surfaces, to outdoor landscaping, decorative, there was this pagoda. I don't know. It was natural wood, natural rock formations made out of and made into lanterns, and forest animals and bird baths. And those are also cool. And, if you want to get ideas on stuff for your home, inside and out, go to, that show is over, but the Seattle Home Show is coming up February 20th to the 23rd. They're going to have a lot of ideas too, outdoor space. They're going to have a lot of structure sheds. What I think is interesting, a lot of people are moving to turf.
Yes.
For their yards.
Yes.
Totally low maintenance, right? And it could look absolutely beautiful. So I saw a lot of displays with that, and lighting inside and out. And then paint, of course, there's what or the color trends for the year. We can talk about that on another show, as we've done in the past. But then the Northwest Flower and Garden Show is coming up in February too, also I believe at Lumen Field. And that is a beautiful, beautiful show. I enjoy going to that. I'll probably go to that again this year. So, do it yourselfers. And you can do the fire pit like we did on one of our original programs, and do just for ideas and for those of you who are in the decorating, renewing, new year, new look of the home, updating everything. So go to those shows. That's what I wanted to bring up. That was
absolutely. Yeah. It's absolutely. I mean, you go to these shows, you get so many ideas, things you didn't even think of. A lot of times when you're, if you haven't bought a house yet, if you go to these shows, I mean, it really inspires you to to vision what your house would look like when you buy it.
Yeah.
But, yes, even the gardening facilities, the roofing facilities, the flooring, the hot tubs in the back.
Coming up, sprinkler systems. There's so many different options for you, and so go talk to some professionals. Go check out what's happening at those shows. So anyway, let's talk about what documentation people are should be getting ready for their tax season, right?
Right.
So in your boxes, you want to make sure you have, the bank and credit card statements. If you're Tina's always looking for those items, right?
Yes.
Anything home purchase improvements, old tax returns, and supportive documentation. You need to have that ready. Tina, what is important to have in that box for documentation that you need that people should have ready?
Well, first of all, let's find out who needs to file tax returns. Okay. So according to the IRS website, taxpayers who need to know their tax returns, most U.S. citizens and permanent residents who work in the United States need to file a tax return if they make more than a certain amount of money per year. So if you are a U.S. citizen, yes, you have to file your taxes. You'd be surprised how many people come to me and they're like, I want to apply for down payment assistance. I want to apply for an FHA loan. And I ask for tax returns and they haven't filed tax returns in 3 years or 2 years. And I ask for tax returns, and for whatever reason, they're like, well, we didn't file tax returns. I'm like, why didn't you? I just didn't have time. And you'd be surprised. I find that out in Colorado. It's like a thing. People don't file tax returns. You're a U.S. citizen here if you're a permanent resident alien. And a lot of times, if you've got people who've got individual tax identification number. And in Colorado, a lot of Hispanics who just came here, they have individual tax identification numbers, and they actually do their taxes. And there are some Americans here who don't do their taxes. But if you do work in the United States, there is an income tax. There's a state income tax, and there's a federal income tax. So you have to file your taxes. And so Vi's just asking me what we need to bring. And so I gave Daniel a list really quick. Daniel, can you bring that up? That's a tax.
And before you start talking about that too, when you're talking about all the documentation, make sure your legal name is the same everywhere. You can't. I know some people have 4 or 5 names, but it should be the same. Whether you're looking at your driver's license or any kind of documentation.
Well, sometimes it's the folly of the U.S. Sometimes it's the folly of the U.S. government. I mean, a lot of Filipinos, a lot of Hispanics have 4 names, and in their country that's normal. But we only have 3 places in our government. So our government has not kept up with diversity. So if you do have 4 names like Jose Maria Chavez Sanchez, there's different ways of highlighting it. But a lot of times in their country they think we're wacko. There's about 10 Tina Lombards that live here in Colorado. So we're kind of a step behind. So if it's on your passport, what have you, whatever's on your tax returns, we actually match that up with your ID, whether it's your passport, your driver's license, or identification. But V makes a very good point. I have people, their name is John Joseph Smith, and on the purchase contract they put Joseph Smith. Do you know how many Joseph Smiths live in a 10-mile radius? So you really need to know, what is on your birth certificate is derived from, they look at your birth certificate and they put that as your identification. And so make sure you
find them. And the credit bureaus, you're checking, right? You're checking with their credit scores. You can't find them.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, Yeah, I mean, a lot of times in the Vietnamese community, a lot of times their last name goes before their first name, or the Cambodian community, sometimes their last name goes before their first name. They'll go by Lombard Tina L. And that makes sense in their country because it goes by last name. So, make sure that your loan officer and everybody knows is what's going on. I can't tell how many times I went to the closing table, that right down there in Lakewood, Washington. Yeah. And the client's like, Tina, my name is backwards. I'm like, what? They're like, well, you saw my citizenship package. It's reverse. So we had to actually redraw the docs and do it and run the credit and everything. So a lot of times it is a sensitivity to different races, So you do want to have ID that matches. And on your tax returns, we actually match your name to your tax returns. Yeah. And I can't tell you how many people, their wife's name is Sally Smith, and their daughter's name is Sally Smith, and they put their daughter on the loan application because the wife's credit is whacked, or they're trying to buy a property without their wife or something like that. So It's very important that your tax returns is underneath your name. So your tax returns, the name and the social security number have got to match. So whatever is on your social security cards. So a lot of times we'll have people and we'll ask them for their social security number, their actual card. A lot of times we'll look at their pay stubs, W-2s, or tax returns to cross-reference. But your tax returns, it's not something you make up. A good tax accountant is going to look at your ID, and it's going to look at your tax card, and to make sure that you've got the right tax number to go on your ID. I can't tell you how many CPAs or some tax preparers, and they'll put Joe Smith instead of Joseph Smith, Joseph Lawrence Smith. They'll put Joe Smith. And to completely, instead of Joseph, they'll put Joe Smith. And they will completely ignore what's on the driver's license and stuff. If you have a tax accountant out there that's putting your wrong name on your tax returns, you need to go to somebody else. So V makes a very, very good point. Make sure that your name is correct on your tax returns. And if you do have to file your tax returns, file them. You can't go to a lender and say, hey, I want an FHA loan, and it's a government loan, but you haven't told the government what you paid. Yeah. Does that make sense? I have people, why can't I get an FHA loan? Why can't? Well, you haven't filed taxes. Well, I want an FHA loan. It's my right. No, it's not. It's your right to turn your tax returns. So you want the government to give you money, but you have not, given your information to the government. So a lot of times, if I get a person, I say, hey, I need 2 years of tax returns, and they hem and haw, and they give me everything but the tax returns, I call the realtor up and I say, we got a problem. They haven't filed the tax returns. Now we can always order transcripts. So if somebody says, oh, it got burned in the fire, my dog ate it, I left it in Jamaica when I was on vacation, we'll say, okay, great. And we'll pull a IRS transcript, and we'll see if they actually did file the tax returns or not. So it's very, very important if you want to buy a house to file your tax return. Okay. So, so it's okay if I look at that checklist real quick, V?
Sure.
Okay, so checklist. So, okay, Social Security, you have to have your Social Security number or your tax identification number. You need to have your spouse's full name, their Social Security number, and their tax ID number. And sometimes a date of birth around there. Let me see what else here. So, you want to know, you have to identify who you are. Thank you for that. And then if you go to the next thing, there's different things that we look for. I'll go up just a little bit, Daniel. Go the other way. Go back up. We want to look at your income. So keep going. Is that what it shows? Okay, yeah. So your personal information, if you go down a little bit, I'm sorry, Daniel. If you go down a little bit, it'll talk about dependents information. Like, do you have kids? What are the ages of your kids? It's on there. We need, if you're employed, your W-2s from your work. If you're unemployed, we need a 1099 or unemployment. If you're self-employed, we do need your forms 1099, your Schedule Ks, or your business tax, your business information, like all your profits and all your income that you gain through your business. Okay, keep going down, Daniel, there. Go down some more. Records of all expenses, receipts, home information, rental income. If you have rental income, it's very important that you do have copies of your leases. Retirement income. If you have pensions, IRAs, annuities, that sort of thing, you want to turn that into Social Security. We actually ask for award letters from your Social Security department to tell us what you're going to make for the next year, and also for your taxes. Savings and investments or dividends. So if you do have a trust fund, if you have a 401k, if you've got different investments like CDs and mutual funds, we are going to ask for the interest on that. And tax accountants actually will look at that too. Mm-hmm. Other income. If you get paid, hey, there's gambling income. I've approved some loans that was just all gambling income. If you have gambling income, it is not surprising.
Gambling income?
You get like a 1099. Wow. They do get something like similar to a W-2 1099 that says how much they gained from that casino. So we've got here duty records, hobby income. Like I play the piano on the side. I need I have to report that income. Prize and award. If you win a lotto, if you win a big chunk of money, you have to, talk about that. Trust income. If you're a trust fund baby, you got to really report that income still. royalty income, any other 1099 you may receive as an independent agent or somebody, you need to turn in all that income. Okay, so those are the type of things that we look for. Now, there's types of deductions, and of course, a licensed tax accountant can tell you about this. But there's things that you can, and we can stay right there, Daniel, really quick. This is the most important thing: home and vehicle ownership, Forms 1098 or other mortgage interest payments. So people don't realize that when you rent a home, you don't have any tax write-offs. But when you own a house, the mortgage interest that you pay per year is deductible for your income, or is deductible when it comes to taxes. So this is the most important thing here. Your mortgage interest statements, you actually can deduct your interest. It talks about here, it's about home improvements, solar panels, car information, charitable donations are sometimes deducted, and also medical expenses. So thank you, Daniel, for that. That serves our purposes. Thank you, Daniel. Yes. So, there's things here that that'll report, like your W-2s, like your your income from having a landscape company, or if you're an engineer, your income, if you have your own business on the side, or if you work for Boeing or something. So the primary thing is that you report all your income. For lenders, a lot of times when it's full documentation, if you say you're making $15,000 a month, we want to make sure that your W-2s and your tax returns reflect that. If they don't reflect that, there's an issue, But for us, you have to have everything together: all your income, all your expenses, car expenses, whatever, health expenses, charitable donations, any expenses you may have. And some of my clients, they put everything, if they have a business, they put everything on a certain debit card. So at the end of the year, they just pull up the bank statements and say, hey, here are my expenses.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now, there's several months that you're able to turn in these items. There are some people, though, if you're a business, you have until October to file your business tax returns.
Mm-hmm.
But for, people who are a sole proprietor or Schedule C, that sort of thing, April is the big deadline.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to rush right now and go out and get everything and just run it to a tax accountant and have everything done. Take your time. I know a lot of times when I'm done with my taxes, like 3 days later, I'm like, oh, I forgot this. 4 days later, I forgot about my car. I forgot about it. So a lot of times it's best for you to pull all your paperwork together, summate everything, and send it to your tax person, and just sit in it for a second and let them kind of figure things out. And sit in it for a second, because sometimes a day or two will go by, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just fixed that. I just had a heater or whatever. I didn't make income here. They retracted this. I mean, a lot of times you'll have to sit for a second and then realize what you should have turned in expense-wise or income-wise.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
And then your accountant in return, they'll say, hey, I need this and this and this. So that gives you time. If you start now, February, March, mid-April, you'll get done. And then at times they will file for an extension if they need a little bit more time to gather up more information from you, documentation.
Yes. So, I find a lot of people with businesses and that sort of thing, you really want to interview a tax accountant. Some tax accountants are just, they want to find out what your goal is. If your goal is to show no income and have no taxes, no tax obligations, you've got some accountants who would just do everything they can to write everything off. And then when you come to me and you ask for a loan, it shows that you made $600,000 in sales, but you made $32,000 and everything is said and done. So sometimes they're not really doing any favors. If you go in there and say, hey, listen, I'll pay my $30,000 for the taxes because I want to buy a $1.5 million home. It's not write anything off. Let's just give it to you as it is. And sometimes you got to interview your tax accountant. Another thing, I've worked with some clients who had CPAs, and that CPA got audited. All the clients got audited, and the CPA was doing funny stuff, to make it look like there's no tax return, no taxes owed. Yeah. And, it comes down to it, you get audited. You don't want to go to a CPA who's just making up stuff and throwing stuff on the wall, hoping it sticks. They may save you a couple $1,000s, but, to go through an audit, that's going to cost you much more money. So make sure you interview your CPA. They've got to be morally and ethically sound in a profession like this. Otherwise, the government's coming after you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
just know when it comes to buying and selling homes, that your real estate agent is one person that represents you, and then your loan officer, Tina, represents you on all things financial. I don't get involved in any of the financial, even touching earnest money check or any of that. I don't touch it because I'm not legally allowed to do that. And Tina has all the paperwork for your transaction. As far as being a buyer, she will scrub your account, find out what you're eligible for, but she's the one. So remember, she's the one that has the money information. I don't.
Yeah. That's very important. I mean, it's something because sometimes you want a lender to tell you something nice, but you want a lender to tell you the truth, no matter how hard it is to bite on.
Right.
You know, let's say you do make $600,000 in sales, and at the end of the year, with all your tax returns and with all your write-offs, you really make it shows $100,000 a year. Well, don't be scared because there are bank statement loans, there are no ratio loans where you don't show income or tax returns. There are all types of loans. The important thing is just to tell the truth. And when it comes to your tax returns, just tell the truth. Don't try to hide or anything, and give yourself time to be prepared. We've got until April. It shouldn't take you that long to get everything together. But like V was very adamant. She says, "Hey, this is what we need to talk about today." Because she knows. I mean, the last moment. April 12th, people are like, I got to get my taxes. But V's like, "Hey, Tina, it's tax time. We need to get on this." And she was 1,000% correct. Jump on it now. And don't be scared.
Yeah.
So V. So when V was just talking about how she is not involved in the finances, she just facilitates and helps out when needed. So V, you talk to people about, hey, did you get your tax returns and W-2s into Tina or the lender? What type of response do you get?
Well, I thought I did, or I don't know if I've got everything. Do you know if she got everything from me? And I always just say, well, she will send you a list of all the items that she's needing from you in order to get your loan approval, expedited. So you need to pay attention to what she's asking you. Don't ask me. I don't know.
V is excellent. V is an absolute excellent facilitator. She's just very, very helpful with clients. And the thing is, I always tell people, if you can't get anything else to me, just give me your tax returns. If you had them filled out at H&R Block or ABC CPA, just call them up and say, hey, can you forward my tax returns to my lender? But I mean, it'll tell me if we cannot use your tax returns, if we need to use no ratio or bank statement. But V is very correct. I mean, just get your tax. That's not her responsibility for you to file your taxes. It's not my responsibility. It's not my responsibility to hunt down your pay stubs. It's not the realtor's responsibility. The responsibility is to make sure you're taken care of and to find you the best house. But it is your obligation to get your tax returns in order, get your pay stubs in order, your W-2s in order, and don't play games. If you don't file your tax returns, don't look for a home. Or if you're a business and you couldn't file, what have you, then be upfront and say, hey, I didn't file my taxes last year. What do I do? Your lender would say, hey, give me an extension letter. Problem solved, or hey, we're going to have to go bank statement or go do a program that doesn't ask for income. But, don't be scared. Just be truthful.
And if you did purchase a home sometime last year, for instance, you can call me and say, I can't find my settlement documents. Do you have that? And that's one thing I do as an agent is every year at the beginning of the year, I go to my clients and I say, do you need anything? Do you have your settlement documents? Because I can get it to you. You're going to need that for your taxes. Yeah. So that's one thing I can do.
Yeah. I mean, so she'll call up your escrow person and say, hey, I need a copy of the settlement statement because there are charges on it that you could probably write off. And even if you refinanced, do not hesitate. I mean, we're here for you. But yeah, it's very important that you get everything together. Don't be scared. If you don't want to do it by yourself, don't. I did my tax returns and I had like 3 or 4 different jobs. I was doing all my tax returns and it was hell on wheels. No. But when I finally found my gal, Arlene, and we're going to have to ask her to get on the show, she just like, it's a magic box. I put it in and she's like, Tina, no, yes, no. And poof. She's like, oh, Tina, you forgot your car tab. You forgot this, Tina. Hey, how about utility? Oh, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I did not write that off. And I mean, it's a godsend.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's $200 extra page or 50 or whatever the heck it is. I mean, you can write it off too. People realize that they can write their taxes off the next year for what they paid for. Just do it.
Yeah. And you can tell them, Tina, what you can write off as a seller or an investor. So you have rental property, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't give that. I'm barred. License-wise, I can't give that type of advice.
Okay. Never mind.
License-wise, I can't. Okay, I can't. But I do know, I can't because everybody is so different. I mean, it depends on if it's a primary or second vacation home or if you got somebody living in it.
Yeah.
But
anything.
no,
I
I'm barred
believe
to.
that any
I'm not
money
my
you
license.
get your house ready to sell, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you can write off. Yeah, and then traveling to and from your rental or home, you know, your investment home, anything you do over there, you can write off. Yeah.
Yes. And I've got a lot of clients, V. They've got 5 to 8 properties to 10, 15 properties, and somehow they get it done. They get it done. Their tax account says, where are the lease agreements? Where are your expenses? What did you pay on it? Blah, blah, blah. Tax account just puts it all out there. Yeah. So don't be afraid. Don't think that, hey, I'm going to have to pay taxes if I buy investment. Don't worry about that. You know, you pay taxes on what you earn. So if you're earning something, that's always better.
Yeah.
You know.
And as an agent too, get the right accountant, because there were things that I didn't know I could write off as a real estate agent. And I'm going, what? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to use you because, now I got some deductions that are legit.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because, as a mortgage loan officer, I had so many different write-offs and doing music on the side. But the last couple of years, my accountant said that was taken from us. So the things, so a lot of things I could write off last year, can't write off this year. So be very, very aware. And your taxes could have gone up depending on the administration and their new little guidelines that they got there. So make sure that you do tax accountant and see what you can do to cut the corners, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, Tina, do we have any games this week you need to announce? Games?
Games?
Yeah.
No, it says here. Well, we do have an announcement. The Call to Conscious Black History Month Museum is open Tuesday through Sunday this month with tours every hour from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. until the 28th. Find out more about this year's exhibits and get your tickets now at calltoconscious.world. I think that's .world. So yes, there you go right there. Make sure that you, if you can go ahead and hit that little QR code, that'll bring you to all the information that you need. So to the Call to Conscious Black History Month Museum. So thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah. So you know what? Our heart goes out to, I just want to say really quick to all the immigrants and what they're going through here. Colorado is a big spot where it's a hot spot. A lot of kids aren't going to school. A lot of people aren't going to work. A lot of restaurants are closing down because of this administration and the immigration policies. So our prayers and our hopes, it is all in your direction. And we are going to be sadly advised if we do not think this is not going to hit the Asian community. This is going to hit our community big time. So our prayers and our thoughts go out to everybody out there who is suffering through this whole immigration law. But our prayers, our thoughts are with you.
Yes, absolutely.
Asians are not there. We're not. I can still get pulled over. People around here are afraid about getting pulled over. And that's a big thing here in Colorado. Maybe not so much in Seattle, but all of us here, my color, are getting afraid of being pulled over. It's happening.
Jeez.
So, yeah, we need to talk about that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
I think that does it for us, right?
Mm-hmm, it does it for us. But thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you and hearing from you next week.
Next week, we'll talk about Valentine's Day.
Yes, and all that.
So I just want to say I'm rooting for Philadelphia this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know who you're rooting for. I'm kind of tired of Patrick Mahomes and his gang. No, it's time for someone new, and I love Saquon Barkley. So,
okay.
Eagles for me.
Well, whoever brings the most food to my house for my Super Bowl party, that's who I'm voting for. Okay.
Okay. All right. There you go.
Anyways, thank you.
Right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.